Draft your LCS team and earn money. Alpha Draft.
Was it Worlds?
And it's crazy to think that just 3 short months ago, these teams fought, and so much has changed since then.
Bit of trading, maybe.
Absolutely. I mean, we rewind back 3 months ago. OMG were coming into a semi-final. Clear favorites. They had looked excellent in the quarterfinals. They were moving towards that final. And just like a year before, Starhorn Royal Club, that was their yardstick. They could never get past Starhorn Royal Club when it came to Worlds. The Uzian squad took down that game, went to finals. But here we are 3 months ago, and the identity of that Starhorn Royal Club team has changed dramatically.
Yeah, and it's gone from, instead of Uzian Club meaning that Starhorn Royal Club, it actually means OMG now.
Yeah, I mean, the Protect the Puppy strategy, that's about 2 years that Starhorn Royal Club had looked into perfecting that. You know, first it was Tabe & Co., and then, of course, it became Insec & Co. that really tried to perfect that strategy. You take that hyper carry Uzi away.
Yeah.
I mean, they actually tried to fill that void with Name, of course, during the off-season. That trade happening a little bit too late. Of course, Name not available for at least the first month or so of the season. Now they really have to redefine that play style. Uzi was their shot caller.
Yeah.
Losing your shot caller, losing the member that you built your team around, and they're trying to have to forge something new. You know, Insect's actually taking up the shot calling now. A lot is fluid about Starhorn Royal Club, whereas OMG, they looked great in week 1.
Yes, OMG are just looking absolutely incredible. And the fact that they now have an extra carry to go along with, especially Cool in that lineup. I mean, that guy just makes plays across the map. But now having Uzi as well in that bottom lane, a little bit more aggressive. I mean, San maybe was a fantastic player in his own right, but not one of that top echelon. As we are into Champion Select already, ladies and gentlemen, the first ban off the board going to be Annie.
I think Sun gets a little bit too much criticism because OMG, they played a style where they thought, okay, we've got mid lane carries, we've got top lane carries. We don't need that AD carry to really be the hyper carry like Uzi. But now they've got Uzi as well, and when it works, it's beautiful.
It certainly is, but the ban's relatively intelligent coming through from both teams. Na being taken off the board, Cola not going to be able to play that one. Actually managed to get it twice last week, which is just ridiculous. It's so powerful in these team fights. Lysandra being taken off the board, and Kassadin as well, targeted at Korn, and Korn was fantastic on that champion.
And the support Annie drawing bans is something I would have never thought would happen before the start of the season, but it's been super effective, particularly with Sivir. So taking away that Annie and leaving the Sivir up, it's an interesting adaptation, but the result of all of it, Zero's Jano.
Yeah, Zero is going to be able to be on one of his more comfortable champions. Of course, a sort of Korean mainstay here, and Zero definitely not going to have any trouble picking that one up. Low actually looking at the Thresh maybe for a potential sort of counter pick to that support. And I don't know whether that necessarily works that way. Is Loveling going to be looking at the Jarvan? And I'm surprised they're not locking in Uzi's Sivir. I mean, he played it 3 times last week.
Absolutely. I mean, Sivir falling down the priority after being banned in
there it is.
both
Going to be locked away.
Oh, we spoke too fast. But I mean, it's interesting to see it even getting to the second rotation of picks after being banned in our first series. So much priority put on that Zero Janna, which looked so strong. They're looking about a Vayne here. I mean, I thought they might keep that hyper carry flavor, and looks like they're going to do it.
Yeah, potentially. Insec might actually be doing a little bit of mana hovering here to his buddy Uzi on the other team now, but we'll see whether they do decide to lock that one in. Korn actually looking at the LeBlanc, and it's going to be the lock-in of Corki here against this Sivir.
It makes a bit more sense. Obviously, we don't know too much about HYY, but we can't expect him to be that same hyper carry like Uze or even Nami, who's of course still in the squad. I do like the Janna first pick here just because it's kind of an answer to the Jarvan that's inevitably going to come out on the first rotation given the strength of Jarvan. But as this draft goes on, LeBlanc also falling to the third rotation there. Interesting to see Korn move away from just the Orianna and Fizz all day. LeBlanc's something new.
Yeah, looking to go for maybe a sort of raise the puppy comp that Starhorn Royal Club were known for. You know, using that Lulu with her shields, with her wild growth on that Sivir, maybe make her a bit more gigantic in these fights. As we do go over to Starhorn, they're hovering over that Lee Sin, sort of the third option here as far as that top echelon of junglers are concerned, considering the fact that Rek'Sai has been taken off the board, but looking at a Rengar as well. An Insect's Rengar is nothing to joke about.
No, Insect's Rengar is very strong, and I love the Aurelia pick here just because you look down OMG's team comp, not going to be a lot of damage from Lulu in the mid, if it is indeed a mid Lulu. I imagined it was going to be a mid Lulu, and actually considering Maokai here as well. it's actually quite a low damage comp coming out of OMG. Usually it's the 3 threats, right? It's go and get in your face in Aurelia. It's cool sniping people with Syndra, and then it's Uzi going crazy in team fights on a hyper carry. Much lower damage focus here, but the team fight control, the amount of CC is insane coming out from OMG.
Yeah, it certainly is. But is it going to be another story like Energy Pacemaker in our last match that we saw? I mean, they sort of got to that late game and didn't quite have the damage to pull it through.
I mean, the Sivir pick is the big difference here. You're going to have, I mean, that Maokai between the Sivir ultimate and Lulu's Whimsy is going to be able to close the distance like crazy. And the interesting thing there is that Corki really struggles at DPSing down a true tank. Just because he's got that mixed damage, but he doesn't really have that same ability to burst through a big, like a Caitlyn might do in the late game. Like a Vayne. Massive consistent damage. It's more about the poking. So if you can get in their twisted advance on top of a Corki, you know, you're blocking all his AoE damage from the rockets. It's very difficult to burst it down. He's not a tank buster, is Corki. He's going to struggle there. And this Maokai, if he gets going, and going himself is such a wonderful top lane carry, if he can get big, it's going to be a struggle for Corki to put out the damage to be relevant in the team fights.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very scary. We'll see whether they can use it. Of course, the Wild Growth plus Twisted Advance combination is brutal. So much lockdown, and then you've got that AoE knock-up to come through as well. Not to mention leveling on Jarvan. I mean, there's just so much area control and lockdown coming from this team that Uzi might only need to be the damage source.
And look, we'll question the damage. I mean, I think it's a valid concern to say, okay, well, where's the damage coming from? But the CC trains are going to be amazing. And what have OMG always been best at? Controlling vision and getting picks. The amount of picks they can get, unbelievable.
Yeah, but we are getting into the game, ladies and gentlemen. And we are on to the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, with our first game between Starhorn Royal Club and OMG. Starhorn on our blue side and OMG picking up the red for our first match in this best of 2. Insec roaming out onto that map, and it looks like Starhorn going for a bit of a defensive start, trying to cover their entrances to the jungle.
Yeah, the fan out is being answered by a very aggressive move from OMG here. Their group, they want to go in. They want to spot the lanes here. They're not interested in any lane swaps. And if they are, they're going to be the ones initiating them.
Yeah, they certainly are. They're knowing exactly what's going on as Starhorn are just pressured out of their blue side jungle. You've got Saplings and Standards coming through first just to scout the way. And Low actually getting a very deep ward here. They want to know exactly where these lanes are going.
And coming back to that OMG mantle of play, they've always been about advancing vision down and getting picks. I mean, Twisted Advance, the Flag and Drag combo from Jarvan, the CC coming out from Core, Lua getting the picks there. Their pick potential is just unbelievable.
And look at what Starhorn have done. That was actually Korn entering the enemy jungle and then backing really, really deep. And they've got some very deep wards through here.
It's good to see that they're adapting to the pressure OMG's putting down. Of course, the disadvantage of having 4 or 5 members invading one area is that it opens up one-man squads from getting really aggressive wards down.
Yeah, correct. OMG looking for this lane swap and maybe even a late invade on this blue buff if they do manage to get through there. Seems to me like Starhorn Royal Club looking to start in that direction as Insec is hanging around that buff. See whether anything can come through here. Doing the cute little strategy where you get to pick yourself up some popcorn chickens by laying down those saplings. And, ooh, starting this Gromp's going to be dangerous. Low's coming here. Does have that death sentence. It's going to land here onto Insect first up. And look at the burst damage. Forced to flash straight away. The Ignite ticking down. And so much aggression from OMG straight up. Loveling easily going to be able to take this one. Smites it away.
And taking a Rengar out of his jungle, disrupting his path, just means that level 6 power spike that Rengar will get is going to be significantly delayed in this game. They'll take Rengar blowing his flash. It just means his counter ganking will be weaker, his presence will be weaker, and Loveling's now licking his lips and thinking it's time to get those aggressive wards down and making sure Rengar doesn't get any camps for free.
Yeah, and having a great start on Jarvan as well, who can really impact the map straight away. You even see him doing these level 2 ganks. This could be really terrifying across the map now for Starhorn Royal Club.
So the lane swap has been put into place by OMG. It was expected with that aggressive move forward right here. As we see Insec, he even doesn't have a completed Gromp camp to pick up there. Sorry, he just has to go through. He's going to hit level 2 about 3.5 minutes into this game.
Yeah, going to be very, very sad times here for this Rengar, who does really like to hit that level 6 before he can really get a lot of work done, unless he's in that counter gank situation, as we've mentioned, and Loveling looking well on track here.
So the lane swap's been put into effect by OMG. They're pushing aggressively onto Aurelia here. It'd be interesting to see who gets the better swap of the lane swap situation. We see Janna, but Zero is actually going to go up top and try and help Aurelia through these early levels. I guess he's just thinking that HYY is probably quite free to do whatever he wants in the bot lane here, as Maokai, he's just trying to make his presence felt elsewhere.
And what do you think about HYY's decision not to freeze this wave down bottom?
It's kind of been the standard in China. Like, we often see different flavors of lane pushing and lane freezing in Korea, but in China it's been all about pushing, and it kind of makes sense because if you have the vision of the enemy top laner at their turret, anchored under the turret, having to clear waves, it opens up so many aggressive jungle moves, and that's what Loveling's all about.
It certainly is, especially considering his start to this game. And as we're having a glance here at the mid lane, sort of LeBlanc known for being very aggressive and cool on this Lulu, going to be able to do a lot of defensive work with those shields. How do you think that this lane is going to shape up? Do you think that Cool needs to be careful at level 6?
I mean, Cool, as long as he's of the same level as LeBlanc, it's very hard to burst down a Lulu, just because, of course, he does get that burst of extra health with the wild growth. Lulu's basically an answering pick, as we see, of course, going very low in the jungle as Insect. It's very much an answering pick to the aggression that LeBlanc is going to put down. In the past, we've seen the Syndra answer to LeBlanc coming out from Cool, and to great success. In this game, Syndra was banned, so the different flavor is a bit more of a defensive choice coming out from Cool.
Yeah, we'll see whether he can impact this map. Of course, if that LeBlanc does get going, it could be a massive linchpin to this Starhorn Royal Club lineup, and Korn has shown to have his carry pants on in the past, especially in their matchup with M3.
Lovelings continue to expand the advantage, and this is what, as we see, he misplaces the pink that doesn't get it in the brush.
A bit sad.
Very awkward, so that where Kitty will get it on the way around his jungle, so Loveling backs away here. Loveling's just going to try and reduce as much pressure from Starhorn Royal Club on Gogoing. This is consistently their strategy, is to ward up aggressively and give Gogoing just the most space possible to get farm on a really tanky champion like Maokai, just so in team fights he shows up ready to fight rather than really underfarmed in a 1v2 situation.
Yeah, and they often rely on Gogoing as well to be that gigantic front line, and he often does manage to get through. His Insect's having a look down here in this bottom lane, but Gogoing so far back, I mean, I don't think that there's going to be too much to do down here, but the wave has moved up. No, Gogoing's just going to be hanging out.
I mean, Rengar works best in situations of complete communication. You know, when you have fantastic vision, you have lanes who are really talking and communicating, as Samsung White were famously doing with Dandy and Marta and the rest of their team. Rengar can be so strong in a counter-ganging capacity before level 6. If that's not the case, if you're behind or you're just really struggling on the map, it's all about that level 6 power spike, of course.
Yeah, and we can see Cool actually laying down a lot of pressure onto Korn here. Has hit that level 6, does of course have the wild growth available if he does want to make himself gigantic. Now Korn has that 6. He's going to use that double distortion in order just to clear out this wave and head back to base. But Cool, I could imagine, is probably going to be able to push this one out.
Yeah, it's the wave clear advantage is the massive thing for Cool in the mid lane. It'll be interesting to see if he itemizes for a Chalice just to have a bit more defensive potential against the LeBlanc all-in. But maybe he'll go aggressive and just go straight for that Morello Nomicon.
We shall see. Low actually going to be starting up this dragon here for OMG. Loveling's come around, has spotted the fact that there is a ward right near there. Starhorn Royal Club's going to know that this one's going down, but they're not moving around to pick this one up.
No, they've decided, you see the waves are pushing in the bottom lane here, so Corky and John have made the decision not to go and contest. It was actually a very well-placed ward to be able to avoid the pink, but of course, Loveling's Raptor buff did just spot it.
Yeah, spotted it out, but wasn't around for quite long enough to clear it out, because they, of course, wanted to make sure that they secured that dragon because their timing was so exceptionally good. Going to teleport into this top lane, and we're going to have standard lanes from here on out, as Gogoing is going to be able to clean up a lot of these creeps.
I mean, speaking of fortunate timings, what a wonderful time to port into the top lane, just as that massive heat wave of about 2.5 waves of minions came in right there. Gogoing is certainly not being punished. He's already got that catalyst. I mean, will it be the Rod of Ages, the selfish choice, or will it be the mid-game power spike of the Righteous Glory? We'll have to wait and see.
We'll see what he does decide to go with here. So we're having a look down in this bottom lane. See how it does actually manage to pan out now that we've gone back to a standard laning situation. Azuzi does miss that cannon creep, unfortunately.
It's tough life in the bot lane.
Oh, it is hard. It is very, very hard.
Cool in the mid lane is indeed not going for the Athenes here. I mean, Athenes is in such a drop-off. There was such a lot of effective mana regen taken away from it with all the base mana regen tweaks that came out in the Season 4 changes, and it's quite expensive. So Morello Nomicon for a much earlier power spike, but
Oh, HYY is going to get caught by the Death Sentence here. It's a nice Boomerang Blade to get a lot of extra damage down, but HYY with that Gatling gun, she's going to be able to survive, but that's a lot of poke damage coming through.
I do credit Cool for being so confident even against a high burst champion like LeBlanc.
Oh, actually, there's the Whimsy coming down on the corn. Takes a lot of damage from that Glitter Lance as well. Actually, there goes the passive.
You saw Loveling hanging back there. He was actually waiting for Lou to get into Whimsy range so he'd be able to get guaranteed EQ combo up. It didn't quite work, but that level of communication is always wonderful to see from OMG.
Certainly is, and being an all-Chinese lineup, it does certainly help you out when you do need to make these sort of coordinated plays. So this top lane's just going absolutely fine. In the bottom lane, trying to work on as much of a freeze as Starhorn Royal Club can. They want to play safe now.
And credit to HYY here. We've actually seen this Sivir vs Corki lane matchup a couple of times. And it's been a real struggle for Corki to stay in this lane just because you often go out of mana if you want to use your Phosphorus Bomb to farm. But look at this. He's very comfortable. The CS is actually even after the lane swap. So Corki, he's very relevant in this lane, but we might see an engage bot.
Shall actually. Insect's going to jump in. This takes the Dark Passage to safety, and that's the beauty of Thresh.
Absolutely. No worries whatsoever, and now Insect has a couple of minutes to ponder his next move.
Yeah, we did actually have Thrill of the Hunt pop, so that's not going to be up for the next little while. Insect looking to be impactful if he can as a fight breaks out here in the top lane. Kohler taking the worst of this one as the Vengeful Maelstrom does come out.
Interesting to see Go going already starting to inch forward in those trades up top. He's building the most effective stat against Aurelia, that flat health probably coming out from that Rod of Ages right here. So he's going to be able to extend his advantage as Kohler. He just wants to farm.
Arcane Smash not going to quite land there, but Kohler on that Aurelia is going to have no worries clearing out these creeps under the turret. Takes another Arcane Smash. Kohler's going down so low.
Probably no real kill pressure coming out of Go going, especially because Loveland is going to get ready to hand over this blue buff on the other side of the map. But just, just harassing as much as possible to ensure that if any teleport play is required, going to be very low health is Kohler.
Certainly is. Teleport almost back up again here for Go Going, who's going down quite low there in the top lane. Kohler having used that Transcendent Blades in order to get himself back up to health.
Still no first blood at 10 minutes here. Kohler using pink very early to start getting the vision advantage around the top lane. Not too much happening around
Kohler
that.
actually going really aggressive here. There's the Equilibrium Strike. It's a nice use of the passive by Go Going to give himself some health back, but he's going to be forced back to base. Might be able to pick up at least some components for either that Righteous Glory or, of course, that Rod of Ages, depending on what he decides to go for.
It was interesting to see Go Going hold on to his flash. I think that's the sign of a great player, is knowing that he had the counter flash potential and he knew that all of Aurelia's abilities were on cooldown. So she had no true kill pressure there, despite the fact he was down to about that 100, 200 health range. So it's the mark of a great top laner to be able to use your summoner spell so judiciously.
Yeah, he certainly knew exactly when to use it if he needed to, but not actually going for either of the items that we mentioned, just going to head towards those Mercury Shreds.
Which does suggest to me probably going to be the Righteous Glory pickup, unless he was just at a really awkward gold value.
Yeah, potentially. The stage is going to be back into this lane. You can see pink wards are focused towards that top side.
But that jungler, he's snuck in.
He has Loveling coming through. He gets the knock up. So much bouncing going on to Zero here, and that's the Cataclysm down. That's going to spell first blood. It's a beautiful Death Sentence as well, as Kohler's found his way into this one. So's Go Going, and Kohler's being locked up here on the backside, trying to get some work done, but it's actually Uzi falling down to Insect here, his former teammate. He's going down low himself. HYY gets caught by a Death Sentence. Beautifully played as Cool comes to the party as well.
3 for 2 is the trade right there. An excellent timing on the roam coming out from Cool. Korn tried to make the counter roam, but of course all this wave clear means the wave is never in the right spot to roam as LeBlanc, and they're going to pick up the turret and get a nice little advantage here in the bot lane.
Yeah, 40 seconds until Dragon as well, so both teams going to be aware of that one coming through as this bottom lane turret does fall down. Uzi actually going to be heading towards the top lane here, so not going for that Dragon pressure straight up.
Yeah, a lot of gold coming on to Cool here, picking up 2 kills. 2-0-0 is the score right there. Uzi did fall, but of course he does have that utility focus with that ultimate. He'll get to his big items before too long. And OMG just come out of that with a marked advantage. About 1,000 gold is the advantage at 12 minutes into the game.
Yeah, not to mention the extra 6% on all of those damage stats. Is Loveling going to use that sweeper to clear out this ward here. And again, with vision control around the Dragon on the side of OMG. Their vision has been so good throughout the LPL so far.
Absolutely, and ever since their introduction to the league, that has been their standout point, has been their ability to advance wards and really get those aggressive picks and turn it into decisive wins. Before OMG came onto the scene, a lot of late-game team fighting was the mark of the Chinese LPL. Now it's about picks and picking up objectives.
Yeah, and it looks to me like Insect going to completely give up on this one as Howling Gale does come through. Not going to be able to do anything to this Dragon. And second Dragon going in a reset fashion towards OMG easily here as it's just the blue buff trade over in response by Royal Club.
Absolutely. Awkwardly reset there, but no real loss. And they even pick up a second objective with the mid-terror here. Suddenly, Starhorn Royal Club are very much on the back foot.
Yeah, they're really looking for a win here around the map. And Cola might be that answer with this top lane turret potentially, but there are 3 men strong making their way up, and Cola may need to get the heck out of here.
Does have pink ward vision here, so we'll know that Maokai is coming. Does not have advanced vision on Jarvan, though. So if he overstays... look at Insect.
Coming up.
We could see one of those famed 6-person top lane fights.
We shall see whether it does come through. Seems like Cool has decided not to come through here as Cola's waiting around in the brush. Cola going to come through, gets the Equilibrium strike there as well. Vengeful Maelstrom has come out. Gogoing's going to pop that one. But if he walks further forward, Royal Club might have an opportunity here, but no, he's just going to head.
Not a man to be baited is Gogoing. He understands the limits of his champion, the limits of his role. He doesn't see 2 members on the map, and he thinks, I don't really need this kill. I don't really want to die. I'm going to stand over here.
Yeah, he's also Maokai. Doesn't have gigantic burst potential on that particular
decent burst potential.
bad,
He's got the blasting one, but no ignite to secure any kills, and a lot of alarm bells. The Spidey sense is well and truly on right there for Gogoing.
They were, as he might get spotted out here in the top lane. Thrill the Hunt has been popped. Vengeful Maelstrom may not be enough here as he's taking so much damage. Cute little Howling Gale, and that could potentially be the kill, and it is Cola picking up that one. The
answering movement here is OMG. They have a 3-man squad coming through the mid lane here. Do not want to see an overstay from Starhorn Royal Club.
Yeah, HYY and Korn still hanging out in that mid lane. They're going to see this. Oh, actually, Loveling just going to get evaporated in the top side. OMG now with a man short. Death Sentence is going to go wide as well as Insect's going to launch himself onto this team. But that was an odd decision, of course. Was in a pretty difficult position as Zero's going to fall down as well.
And that's a 2-for-1 trade effectively there just because Loveling decided, I know my team's coming. I'm going to heroically die and keep them all in position. So it was a heroic sacrifice from Loveling right there. Picks up a kill for Uzi. He'll be happy with that 2-for-1 trade.
Yep, what a wonderful Demacian Prince is that Jarvan 4. Korn's made his way up here as well. Cole are going to try and clear out these creeps with a little bit of extra help.
I mean, OMG's still in that growing pain situation where each player on the team kind of has to re-clarify their role with Uzi being added to the lineup. Uzi's always going to demand resources. That's just the reality of him as a player. So we thought, okay, is it going to be the top lane that's going to sacrifice a bit? And we've seen a bit more sacrificing from going in the top lane.
Oh, Descent's going to land on a Cola here as well as Korn's taking a bit of damage from that Glitter Lance at the same time. OMG just looking to try and get as much down as they can as the Mimic going to get giggled at here by our members of OMG as this tower gets tanked up.
And it's going to tank it up here. Of course, Cole's going to use the ultimate on himself, not expecting any team fights to come in soon. Loveling comes around. 3 turrets to 0. This is the OMG mid-game special.
Yeah, the outer ring already being dealt with as going is just going to clear out these waves with his ultimate. And that mid lane turret's going to be safe as well.
Be interesting to see if we see the power spike coming in on the Rod of Ages coming on to Gogoing. He's back in here. If he has that Rod of Ages, it means that about 27 minutes into the game, that'll be fully stacked up. And that's when the team fight pressure from OMG will start to really come through.
Yeah, it does have that cloth armor as well, so looking to build up some of that armor in order to deal with Insect and HYY. But I like the fact that he picked up the Null Magic Mantle earlier on because there's a lot of magic damage coming out of Starhorn Royal Club.
It's probably going to be, the Merc Treads into the Frozen Heart, the obvious builds here. The Frozen Heart just to shut down some of Aurelia's true damage, and the Merc Treads just to ensure that he can stay and stick in a fight.
Not to mention the fact that Maokai really just loves having a lot of extra cooldown reduction as Thriller Hunt's going to be popped. Lowe's in a lot of trouble. Howling Gale to come through. Korn just pops him.
Cole didn't even have ultimate. He was in position to try and throw and didn't even have it off cooldown, and it wouldn't have made a difference.
Yep, used it to tank the turret in the top lane, but not really going to be picking up any objectives from this one as going to head back up top. Cole is going to be clearing out this pink with his own here.
It feels like we're getting an encapsulation of why OMG is such a strong team in this game, in that there's been equal kills, 5-5 is the kill score, but the amount of objectives is night and day for OMG. 3 turrets and 2 dragons compared to just the kills to show for all their hard work for Starhole and Royal Club.
Yeah, and they're just not making the positional advancements that they want to. And OMG, of course, just know exactly where they need to make their moves.
So they haven't quite got down the trademark OMG aggressive vision just yet. There's been enough skirmishes that actually the pink wards and the defensive wards coming out from Starhole Royal Club have been acceptable. Loveling's kind of been the one to fall down a bit here. He's a bit behind where he'd want to be. He's gone for the Sightstone just to try and arrest some of that vision snowball that Starhole was slowly able to pick up. Going, he's just happily farming up the top.
Yeah, and what do you think about Insect's overly sort of aggressive damage build here on this Rengar?
It's kind of a trademark. It's what we see out of Insect frequently, is the ability to go in there and get a pick. And maybe he's going to be able to surprise this OMG team and burst down a person before Cool's even able to react with that wild growth. In the short term, it could be very effective. I think in the longer term, in the mid to late game, where that damage burst isn't just going to be quite as relevant, it might hurt him that he hasn't gone a bit tankier early.
Yeah, we'll see whether he can make use of these mobility boots as well, of course. Taking a bit of a hit as far as their effectiveness is concerned, but gets you around the map so quickly.
Well, he's gone completely for a pick build here. He is going to do massive damage himself, and if he has any members with him, someone should die.
They should, indeed. And he's stalking down the bottom side. Doesn't quite have Thrill of the Hunt available just yet, as OMG going to take that Scuttle Crab. You can see there's no wards there in that Tri-Brush, but the wave just not quite where Starhorn really wants it.
So Going's grouped here just because he doesn't feel like his team has quite the vision down to be able to go for a teleport play. They're trying to clear vision around and rush this third important dragon right here to get that movement speed bonus. You have to think Starhorn Royal Club's going to contest.
They also really want to deny this from Starhorn Royal Club, but there's Thrill of the Hunt, has been popped, not utilized at all as Howling Gale does come through. This dragon still available. The 50-50s here, but it's going to be taken by Insect. There's a Monsoon to try and get everyone out of here, and Zero forced to flash away as well, but Cola is doing so much work around here as Korn's just going to get evaporated in the middle of this fight. There's the flash by Going, sacrificing himself potentially as it's going to go wide there with the descent. Cola's going to fall down. HYY is dead as well. Oh, Cola with a cute little flash over the wall. Insect's on top of a ward though. Wants to try and get through. Cola comes in, picks up Going. And Uzi coming around. He's got a lot of damage. Spell Shield's nothing there at that stage as Boomerang Blade does come through. Insect still trying to run away.
Worth noting through all this that Starhorn Royal Club are trying to retreat through the enemy jungle right here. Insect, he's trying to open it, but he's going to die eventually.
Yeah, and there's the help picks. Being pretty helpful in securing that kill onto Insect as well. So nicely played as far as the kills are concerned, but the really important thing is Starhorn Royal Club got the dragon.
And the crazy thing in that team fight, it was Zero's play right there. Did you see the ultimate he was able to put out right there? We're going to get a replay here. Watch Zero's ultimate right here, as we're going to see the flash engage coming out very strong with Lua. They get it very low, and the flash engage comes in, but watch the amount of separation he's able to get. All of OMG threats are separated, and that's why we saw so much burst damage coming out onto Loveling right here. But here's where the re-engage happens. You see Going pushing his limits. He always does this. Flashes in and re-engages right there, and even though it's so low, the fight continues here, and Starhorn Royal Club, it was a wonderful flash from Cola. They opened up so much time. They were always going to take at least one casualty, but only to pay one right there, and to pick up that kill, Starhorn Royal Club absolutely came out ahead right there with the Dragon Steel.
Yeah, looking fantastic, and the gold, really nothing to talk about. 1,500, or 1,500. Of course, I do like to not be able to pronounce my numbers quite as correctly as I otherwise would. Is OMG going to steal away this Crimson Brambleback?
We have to return to the team comps being picked here. So much gold here is on Cool, who will be able to do respectable damage, especially with this damage snowball, but towards the later game is going to fall off. That's just the reality of that AP Lulu mid lane pick. A lot is relying on Uzi right here. If OMG can't get a consistent amount of dragons and barons out, if they can't control vision, as we can see Loveling trying to advance vision very considerably here, they will face damage problems in the late game. They really want to pick up these objectives, and that's why it's massive that Starhorn Royal Club were able to pick up that third dragon.
Definitely is. Uzi actually looking to try and pick up a Last Whisper as his next item as well, so wanting to maximize his damage against the potential Frozen Heart coming through from Cola. This tower going very low. OMG brute forcing their way to their first inner turret of the game. 4 now to 0. So much map control.
And it's this grouping strategy that actually really works in OMG's advantage right here, because you look down this Starhorn Royal Club team.
Insect maybe caught out.
Yeah, we see the ultimates popped here. Thrill of the Hunt, though, is going to be very difficult to chase down Insect right here. But returning to the team comps here, you look down Starhorn Royal Club's team comp. Very little AoE wave clear coming through here. Of course, LeBlanc famously doesn't quite have a lot of wave clear unless she gets very much in danger. Corki can use his spells but can't instant clear at all. And Aurelia's ultimate will clear over time, but she wants to keep that for other things. So if they're able to stay grouped and pushing with all the poke coming out from OMG, that's where they'll feel the most confident.
Yeah, not to mention the engage potential coming through from OMG. So a siege situation, especially with a Corki, is just not something Starhorn can do in this game.
And that's why we have to keep such close tabs on Zero. It was an amazing ultimate that really kept them in that last team fight. And he'll need to keep his flash and potentially even use it aggressively for them to pick up team fight wins here.
Not to mention that the longer this game goes, the more tanky Cola is going to get and the more of a damage threat that can't be removed.
Yeah, it's probably going to be Frozen Heart pickup on both sides here from the top lane. It's just to kind of work against the comps they're playing. Of course, Lulu sword attacks are powered up through AP on that passive, so it's very relevant to pick up this Frozen Heart. Is completed here. 5-1-1 is Cola, and this is kind of the interesting point of this game where we think, okay, this is a Starhorn Royal Club that's always been about protecting an AD carry. The AD carry is actually struggling 0-2-4, but very decent CS on HYY. Will it finally be the time for Cola to step up and say, look, I'm also relevant here. I can win a fight off my own back with this farm.
Yeah, and we've been seeing that a lot more of these games for Starhorn Royal Club are going towards the focus of Cola and Korn in these solo lanes because they don't have their star AD carry to rely on, and these guys have to step up. And we have to say, especially in their game against M3, it was working out.
It's one of those things where it's a question, right? We're not sure if they can have that carry focus, if they can actually take gold leads and translate them into game wins.
Oh, Cool taking a lot of damage here as Going. He's got so deep. It's a nice Monsoon to get him the heck out of there, but Zero's going to get punished for it. Cataclysmed out of this fight straight away. It's a 4v5, now a 4v3. As Korn's going to fall down as well. Cola just throwing some Transcendent Blades through the team. And Cool very, very low on health. OMG just going to take it and back away.
And it looked like a suicidal engage from Going, but the one thing Starhorn Royal Club did not have there was a grouped Cola. So much of the gold on this team comes from this Aurelia. Aurelia is the key to their team fights at this point. She was not able to group until well after the rest of the OMG team had already ripped through the front line.
Yeah, beautifully played by OMG. Get in, get a couple of picks, and get the heck out of there. There's 2-1-8 now for Uzi. Just 100% kill participation on this Sivir, and now has that Last Whisper completed as well. So it's not going to hurt as much that Cola has picked up this Last Whisper because he's going to be, I mean, not Last Whisper, the Frozen Heart, because he's going to be able to cut through a lot of that armor.
What hurts the most for Starhorn Royal Club is actually a very subtle thing here. Going has his teleport available and Cola does not. And as we've noted, Cola is the key to a teamfight victory here. So how do you deal with the potential of side lanes pushing, Going going to be split pushing, only Aurelia can really stand up to him. When these dragons come in, Aurelia's going to have to really be on point.
Yeah, and OMG with such good timing on this dragon as well. They started up but decide not to go through with it as Cola's found Cool here as well. The Wild Growth was forced to be popped. They're going to re-engage onto this dragon and easily pick it up. Look at all the damage coming through from these OMG members, easily taking down that dragon.
And this rotational play is only going to get stronger and stronger. They've got a 5-minute window. Well, they had a 5-minute window to take advantage of that. They pick up the dragon, now teleports on cooldown from Going. But basically, Starhorn Royal Club at this point needs teleport or needs to find a 5v5 engage, and I don't see why OMG will let them do that.
Ooh, Descent's going to go wide there by low, but they now have that extra movement speed provided by the dragon as I was going to get Whimsied here. Very cute. Ooh, Insect going to throw that Thrill of the Hunt out. Does get the Boulder Strike down onto low, but looks to me like they are going to be able to escape from this one. Cool, playing some fantastic defense with those shields.
They are able to draw out the Thrill, the On the Hunt from Sivir, though, which is an important cooldown. They're going to try and re-engage very soon, but OMG, you'd think, are not interested in fighting without that big cooldown available.
Yeah, and it seems like OMG have so much control of when these fights go off, when they want to go for them, that they can just hang around on the Hunt. Of course, not a high cooldown, which is why Uzi's a little bit trigger happy with it. Of course, just because he can be.
And you saw the disadvantage of the real DPS focus build that Insect had right there. He jumped in, hit the Boulder Strike, and then got the hell out of that fight because he does not have the tanky stats to be able to hold the team up. We saw early in the game Love being able to EQ in, buy time for his team to come clean up, and Insect is not really able to do that.
Not quite. As does have that Ghost Blade completed as well. So we're talking about a damage build that is certainly coming in. Not going to be sitting on any Brutalizers this game. Going to be getting that active so that he can really make the plays around this map. It hasn't quite been working out. We'll see whether that Thrill of the Hunt can be utilized to greater effect as this game progresses.
I'm going to expect in the next team fight, going to use his Twisted Advantage on the ulting Rengar and then to take him out very early in the fight, because he will die instantly to focus fire right here. And OMG's biggest strength in the games we've seen so far has been target selection. There's been so many fights where OMG will walk away with a fight with 3, 4 members with just perhaps flashing health, 300 health at most, and 4 deaths on the enemy team. They have that excellent team fight playmaking and calling, and they're going to use that here, you'd have to think, against a full DPS Rengar.
He's a monster. But, oh, actually another longsword coming in here. I could imagine that's possibly a Hex Drinker with a lot of magic damage coming through in Go-Going and Cool combined, but my gosh, it's so damage focused.
Full damage against a supporty mid lane is a bit curious to me, though, I have to say.
Yeah, we'll see whether he does manage to make it work. Hasn't been working fantastically thus far. It does have very close to 100% kill participation.
I mean, look at the wards, though, here, Atlas. We look at the map here. There's very aggressive vision and positioning coming out from OMG, and there's nary a ward on the map coming out. Perhaps only the Sightstone wards from Zero on the map from Starhorn Royal Club. This is OMG's map to take advantage of as they please.
And it's so beautiful as well because they made sure that that bottom lane wave of minions was pushed right up to the inhibitor turret, and someone is going to miss out on a lot of money that's dying to that turret, as you can see.
No, they're just ignoring it completely. They feel that there's going to be a dive the moment they send anyone away. And the issue here is that if Aurelia goes to deal with that wave, I have a feeling they're going to lose the fight during the channel of that TP just because of how much gold from that team is on Aurelia.
Yeah, it's true. As Korn's going to
There's no good decisions here, Atlas.
No, there certainly aren't. And OMG are making sure they play on that, making sure that they utilize the choices that Starhorn Royal Club are forced to make.
It would be very aggressive to try the Baron here, especially against Rengar, who will have that Throw of the Hunt and the vision from it. So they're looking for a pick here, hoping to either blow the Rengar ultimate or take someone out.
Descent is going to go a little bit wide. It's a nice 4-man Howling Gale from Zero, but he's not going to even see the fact that that came through. Thrill of the Hunt has been popped. A few members of OMG are going to be notified of it with that exclamation mark, but
baiting out that cooldown, and baiting out that cooldown does mean that Baron is a very legitimate objective. It's going to be a very aggressive move for Starhorn Royal Club to check this, but they need to do it right now.
Yeah, it's down to almost half health here as Starhorn Royal Club are making their way into the pit, but OMG looks to be not letting up on this one. Uzi just going to be tanking through the damage, and Loveling secures it, and they are going to engage here as well. On the Hunt has been popped. It's going to be a little bit of a monsoon, but that is not going to be enough to save in second. Loveling says that I am not finished yet, looking for more members of Starhorn Royal Club to kill, but now that they have the Baron buff, they are going to be able to siege so much more effectively on the side of OMG.
Full damage. Rengar blew up instantly, and now we're going to see some tanking of the turret, and they're just going to push down. They have positional advantage, forcing the teleports home to come out from Starhorn Royal Club. They'll pick up this inner turret, and they have no reason to stop. They're going to take some more objectives here, Atlas.
Yeah, they're heading towards that inner turret in the top lane as well. As nice little ride on the Dark Passage that Loveling's going to take there to clear out these minions, get some pumped up ones to come through and tank out this turret, and we'll see whether Royal Club can actually do anything about it.
I don't think so against Baron buff. It's going to be a second outer turret falling, all the outer turrets down, and only one turret killed for Starhorn Royal Club here. I don't know how they'll ever get enough position on this map to take an objective, and so I have to think they're either going to bleed it out slowly or OMG is going to smell blood and go for the kill.
Yeah, and look at the stranglehold that OMG has in vision as well. There's pink wards all throughout Starhorn Royal Club's jungle because they haven't been able to get there and do anything, and they've lost all of their outer ring of turrets, so nowhere is safe for this team.
Absolutely no map vision whatsoever, and they come for this blue buff steal. They have no right to be able to do this, and they might pay for it with their lives.
Yeah, Thrill of the Hunt has been popped, so he's going to stealth up, but the Cataclysm comes through, and there's no way for him to get out of this one as Loveling's going to flash out of his own Cataclysm. The fight is on for real, and Go-Going's taking no damage, zoning 3 members at once as Cole is being dealt with in the backline, forced to use that flash, and that's Loveling picking up the kill. Korn, that's not the right one, but On the Hunt's been popped here as well as Cool is going to take care of Korn as well. Oh, there's the Boomerang Blade, and look at the damage coming through. HYY just gets taken out, and that's going to be the flayed up auto attack of Lou. to really get that one through. And Zero now the only member alive.
Going is a literal raid boss in the front there. Just the Rod of Ages and Frozen Heart and a bit of magic resist makes him so tanky. He's owned 3 people away from the engage, and once Sivir hits that fleet of foot passive, you can't shut her down. She's too fast for you. OMG clean up the kills, and they push on towards this victory.
Yeah, only 1 kill that Uzi hasn't had a part of in this game as well. It looks to me like a bit of a support Sivir, and it's working out for OMG fantastically. The first inhibitor of the game going to be going to OMG in this mid lane, and 10,000 gold is now the lead. And this team is just pulling Star and Royal Club apart.
And I guess I wonder out loud to myself whether this is going to be a new dawn for Uzi, whether he's going to be willing to pick up those more support-orientated AD carries, or whether this is just Uzi and OMG deciding that, look, Sivir's really strong right now. We'll use her while we can, and if any changes come out to Sivir, we'll go back to the hyper carry style. Of course, we've seen Uzi's veins so far in the LPL.
Yeah.
What a treat that was. But it's just interesting to just track that hyper carry as he slowly starts to understand his role in this OMG team.
Yeah, well, so far, I mean, 4 out of his 5 picks have been that Sivir. It looks like he's very comfortable on this champion, and now with 4 damage items, that massive quadra damage build.
It doesn't even matter that he doesn't have a damage ultimate. His right clicks are going to be like an ultimate.
Yeah, we can see that being demonstrated on the Scuttle Crab right here. As the vision has been brought forward just a little bit here by Royal Club, as Korn's actually going to get tagged blind by that Boomerang Blade. Takes half of his health. Nice use of that spell shield, and Korn's just going to get evaporated. Kohler now, he's not that tanky raid boss that they really need him to be because Uzi's so huge. Look at the shields coming through onto him, and Uzi he could have just stood there and right-clicked.
The amount of disrespect to walk up to a LeBlanc with a Death Cap, with a Merlonomicon, even some extra AP on top of it, and just 1v1-er. Uzi knows the limit of every champion, and it's just wonderful to see.
Yeah, and it was so easy for him as well, as OMG is going to push through. The Nexus turret's now under fire as 2 carries from Starholm Royal Club are dead. The first one's down. The second one surely going to follow as Lou's going to get wild growth. No one else is going to die on the side of OMG, and what a beautiful win for OMG in this first matchup against Royal Club.
We were tracking this game. It was 5-5. It was looking even, but we talked about the amount of objectives that OMG were able to take with those 5 kills. And it just went further from there. The Insect's full damage build meant that he wasn't really relevant in team fights, and they just strangled SHRC, Starhorn Royal Club, out of this game. It's what they hoped to do 3 months ago at Worlds, but they put it into place and put it into practice wonderfully here.
Yeah, it was fantastic to see. It was all of these turrets going down in the early game. I mean, the kills were going in both directions early on, but it was that early dragon, the early outer ring of turrets being taken down, and OMG just never let up. They kept the stranglehold going on, and I don't know how Starhorn Royal Club can really do anything to counter back, or whether they're just going to have to pick their own sort of very vision-heavy playstyle.
Well, we're going to cut to a replay here just to see some of the domination that OMG were able to put out this game. So we're tracking it quite late here. We're 30 minutes into the game. This is when Starhorn Royal Club were like, let's try to take something because we've given up too much here. Loveling's so smart to put down the pink ward there. They had perfect vision on Insect the whole time. And Going is a monster. Look how little damage he's taken. 3 members, the 2 carries of the team, LeBlanc and Corky, could do nothing against Going. He continued to peel for his team, working with Loveling, and this is when Uzi starts to get going. He flashes for the auto attack, and once he gets an auto attack on Corky, he activates that passive, and HYY, he eventually accepts his fate, turns around, dies heroically. Luo actually picks up the kill. Bit of bloodthirsty support play there, but that's just OMG in a nutshell. We're still seeing Going command fights, almost a team fight general on that Maokai. We're still seeing Uzi, even on that more supportive Sivir, getting the hyper carry done, being a very smart team player, and that's the scary thing about OMG. They're starting to look like a team very quickly, and that's a warning shot to the rest of the LPL.
It certainly is, of course, with Name on the bench at the moment as well. Starhorn Royal Club probably looking to level up as he does come into their roster, but we are going to have Game 2 coming up extraordinarily quickly as Starhorn Royal